who's waiting downstage with EnVy's bot laner.
Thanks, guys. Great cast on the day. I am here with Apollo. Congratulations. Qualified back into the LCS against your gold coin. Went 5 games. I want to ask you, what was the difference between your series Friday, where they were able to take you guys down 3-1, and here today?
Well, obviously, so since we lost, we kind of had to rethink some things in our draft, and I think we played okay. They played obviously really well, but I think it was mainly our draft that we kind of faltered in. So we wanted to just assure ourselves that we have a stronger bot lane, and that's pretty much how the draft went through the 5 games. Like you saw, they started to ban ADs and just Ziggs along the way. So I think it's good that we just adapted well in this series, and yeah.
So you guys were putting a lot of focus on the Varus pick in particular, a lot more than some of the other teams have. There's been a lot of priority on champions like Lulu in the bot lane. What is it about Varus that you think was a key to your success, or why you're picking it so much?
It's just probably one of the safest blind picks, and we kind of prioritize that for our drafting. Like we need to pick our bot lane early, so we need to draft something that can win but also be a blind pick, and that's why we did Varus versus pretty much every single matchup, and eventually you kind of start to win that lane, especially at 6.
All right, so focusing in a little bit on the coming split, you guys have requalified for the LCS. Obviously, you didn't have the split that you wanted to this time around. Do you guys have any plans going forward, changes you want to make, or things you think that you're going to be trying to improve on in the offseason?
Yeah, this split was not ideal, but I think, I don't know, throughout their entire split, I think even the fans or like the casters kind of thought that we were eventually, maybe going to get better. Like we had like a small chance that we can, do better, but we just couldn't make it. And I think the changes that we have to make, it's like kind of uncertain, but I think a lot of that has to do like language barrier and maybe the way we prep for matches in our scrims. So just kind of all on the players to improve.
All right, well, congratulations. You're going to get some much-deserved time off, so I hope you enjoy that, and we'll see you back next season in the LCS. But to close of the day, we're going to send it back to the desk.
Thanks very much, Azael. It's me and Kobe now, my favorite. This is great. This is the match made in heaven. All right, so let's talk about this. Team EnVy do come through with the win, 3-2 overall. You heard Apollo talk about drafting winning bot lanes. I think that did tend to happen here. 7.5 is Fortune, took some nerfs. Clearly wasn't very effective that game.
Yeah, definitely. You could see the importance of getting consistency from that bottom side, and they talked about using almost the same composition over and over and over. That was one key. Another key they also touched on, the casters were talking about Ninja's performance. Syndra, he's had a lot of good performances on Syndra. Previously, everyone was like, oh yeah, he can only play the AD, his Talon and Jace pretty much. But, when he's not having these plays where he's forced into really dangerous situations, and he often errs on the side of going super aggressive and like trying to make a big play for a kill, and it starts to snowball against him. When he's not doing that, he looks very good, right? He had a lot of good performances on Syndra, and him stepping up was crucial because Phoenix was the guy that everyone was looking at for Gold Coin United to actually win them the whole series, and that last game especially. He starts at 0-3, and most of the kills revolve around that mid lane.
Right, even though you had a game where like Lear gave up first blood on an over-aggressive invade and a good class for the bot lane. Yeah, you had individual ninjas like 3-0-1 at the start of the game, and Phoenix is like a hard 0-3-0, and that's just putting hard in front of words is the new thing for League of Legends. We were talking about that off camera. But yeah, I mean, overall, that matchup went really well. You finally had some good performances coming out of him. Overall, of course, with lots of good performances, we had to recognize one single player to stand above the rest. EnVy, of course, won. And honors go to Lyra in the jungle. Consistently was good pretty much every single game and does get player of the series honors.
Yeah, it's a little bit slightly awkward after that last game because that was probably Ninja's best performance, and Lyra had some mistakes in there that you can definitely point to.
But this.
However, overall, yeah, that play specifically, I know you really liked the multiple hops there from Lyra getting a large amount of distance, but overall as well, basically the entire series here, this guy, talking about backbones, this is basically the heart of EnVy, if the bottom lane is the backbone, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He's the heart, maybe the brain as well, honestly. Like, he has been so crucial for the team, and it's sad that his team's in 10th place, but you wonder what would have happened without Lyra here. I remember you had asked, or I'd been asked, like, what would Liquid be like without Double? It's like, well, they'd be in a much, much worse spot than they were already. I mean, they were riding in 10th as well, and EnVy without Lyra, I think, would be in a much worse spot as well. So now they get another sort of split to play, and, we'll see what changes up with them. Of course, our Summer Promotion series has been set, and so let's take a look at next week's action as the 2017 Spring Playoffs begin, and they're going to start on Saturday with Phoenix One taking the stage against Team Dignitas. And then on Sunday, we'll have Counter Logic Magic Gaming and FlyQuest duking it out. Both of these, of course, for a chance at the semifinals, where Cloud9 and TSM are waiting, depending on how seeds go.
Oh, baby. This one looks to be very interesting because Phoenix won versus Dignitas, first of all, as the first one that we're going to talk about here, is on paper, you're like, okay, that's the number 3 versus number 6, should be the most clear cut. But at the end of the season, all this crazy roster moves that Phoenix is doing, they have 2 rookie supports that they're still deciding between.
Sure. And even 2 junglers are deciding between.
Is Meteos even still going to be here? He talked about at the beginning when he joined the team, maybe didn't really want to do it for that long, didn't want to have a lot of pressure. And the further you get into playoffs and stuff like that, the more there's more pressure and more practice and stuff that you have to. So yeah, not quite sure about the junglers. And the supports as well. Arrow's one of the biggest parts of that team. If you can't lock down, especially deciding between 2 rookie supports, then it can get very sketchy there up on the big stage.
Yeah, totally agree. We even saw like Brain support came out, which I was excited about. Like if they play Shady, I think it's always super compelling. And do you go for that style, or do you bring both supports into the playoffs that you can switch at that one? Of course, the CLG versus FlyQuest one, even though it's the 4 and 5 seed, I think is actually the more cut and dry. They had very opposite seasons where FlyQuest was like tied for first for a while. In the last 11 matches, they're 3 and 8, whereas CLG 8 and 3 in their back half in their last 11 matches. So it feels like CLG is so much better right now.
Yeah, not to mention CLG did win their matchup that was only a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
2-0 versus FlyQuest, so that's definitely going in their favor. As far as those 2 teams matching up, though, I always really like to see those shot callers match up. Aframoose talked about it a bunch of times in videos. He likes going up against high or doesn't like going up against high.
It's like high and Mata, the 2 hard ones for him.
Exactly, how much stress it really does involve when people are willing to make risky shot calls. As far as the recent form of FlyQuest, though, and they've decided as a team they wanted to go back to testing out less things at the same time, basically.
Refined.
Reduce the variables to only a couple. So they still will have, I think, an element of those flavor picks. We did see the Evelynn recently from Moon, even though they haven't gone quite as far as, Mordekaiser plus Shaco plus, all in the same
plus
game.
Blitzcrank, plus Mid Jarvan, plus Vlad Top. I think they've played, all those champions, and roughly the only team ever do that. But I think it will be very interesting, absolutely. Honestly, I am curious sort of what shape comes in. Of course, this here in the promotion tournament was on 7.5. 7.6 will be the playoff patch, and it was a very small one, so I don't think there's going to be very significant changes, but slight nudges each way.
Yeah, changing the patch again. Might have a little influence. As you said, it's a pretty small one there for 7.6. But one that you did mention as well with the Misfortune pick in the last game, she gets a little bit of a nudge back. Which might make her more of a counter pick to Zyra or try and return her to that space. But yeah, on 7.5, we saw it's tough to do much.
Yeah.
Q doesn't do much damage anymore.
Yeah. And even Flyco was willing to play it in the bot lane, so maybe we see some more of that. If it's one of the picks they go for, I thought MF bot was good. Doesn't really matter. Either way, we are done with the broadcast. So for myself, Kobe, the rest of the casters, all the analysts, all the water people, and all the broadcast crew, thank you for watching. Thanks for being a part of this, and we will see you in the spring playoffs in a week. Don't go anywhere. Well, go.
This is the last best of 5 of the Summer 2017 promotion tournament. Everybody's lives are on the line here. You win this one, you're in the NA LCS for the summer split. You lose this one, you're back down to Challenger. Getting knocked back in by Phoenix. The exhaust had gone down extremely early. Ninja trying to get a trade kill back around, but Phoenix flashes in first blood for Santorin. They've lost all the Nexus towers on the side of EnVy. A flash forward from Mash finds a kill onto Apollo. He's actually going to wind up going down. Seraph has to flash to stay alive.
No flash. I'm on grape. Okay, great.
Lyra comes around the opposite side. Ooh, a failed flash from Santorin's going to seal the deal on his death.
Okay, send that down. Slowly. Great. Lumber. Kill the ammo. I go. Chase.
Go in the game.
Mash is going to try to get out with the empowered Baron recall, but he gets stopped by Ninja. Santorin winds up going down to Seraph. It's a double kill for Renekton. Make that a triple. It's an ace. And the Baron goes over to GCU. The collapse coming out as Mash gets excited. He immediately dies, but they've eviscerated Ninja because of it as well. And EnVy is all going down. Mark, we're going to a game 5.
You hope that silver scrapes.
teleporting in. The bullet time gets challenged here by Mad Life. The equalizer goes out, and Mad Life will wind up going down. Zani's Hourglass is used already by Ninja. Solo's going to get melted as Seraph goes golden as well. He's going to wind up trading his life for that one, but they block down onto Mash, and EnVy comes out ahead. The summer split of the North American LCS. They've popped Phoenix. They've popped multiple members of GCU, and Team EnVy, welcome back to the North American LCS.